Welcome into the Sports Talk podcast on Tuesday, April 9th. Today's show, we go over my player of the night from Monday for fantasy baseball, along with waiver wire, drop-o-meter, and prospects to stash, as well as my rankings update. Let's get started with the Olive Garden breadstick, the player of the night. And my player of the night from Monday was Reds shortstop Elly Cruz. He went 3 for 4 with 4 runs scored, 2 home runs, 2 runs batted in, and a stolen base. Now, on the surface, this looks like a really good performance, and it was. But the one issue I have with Elly Cruz is his strikeout rate. And his strikeout rate right now is over 40%. He needs to slash that in half. He was my breakout player for the Reds, and it's safe to say it looks like he might be breaking out. The Reds did end up winning last night. Elly Cruz. I'm going to spoil this right now. Elly is still my number 1 ranked infielder. You will see the rest of my rankings for infielders and starting pitchers later on in this show. My waiver wire part 1, pitchers under 80% rostered. Rockies Ryan Feltner. He is 0.7% rostered. Starting pitcher for the Rockies Ryan Feltner. With Feltner, can he follow up what he did against the Rays over the weekend? If he can, I think he's a decent waiver wire add in deeper leagues. Keyword being deeper. Deeper than any 12 teams, I would not even sniff adding Ryan Feltner. Anything more than 12 teams, 14, 16, 18, 20. If you play all the way up to 20 and somehow Feltner is on your waiver wire, I would give him a look and see if he can continue what he's been doing. Another guy that I've talked about, and I feel like I've talked about him a little too much, but it's because he's severely under-rostered, and he had another good start last week. That would be Mets starting pitcher Sean Manaea. Manaea is another guy that has been doing, he's been really good early on this year. And Manaea, he's starting to creep up into my peripheral for being in my rankings. He's not in there yet. He's on the surface of being in the rankings. Again, you'll see those rankings at the end of the show. Number 3, waiver wire add is a reliever, Shelby Miller from the Tigers, 5.1% rostered. With Manaea, I'm going to circle back to Manaea for a second. Can we get him over 40% rostered? Over 40%. Back to Shelby Miller now. Shelby Miller, he's one of the relievers in that Tigers bullpen, and the Tigers, surprisingly, early in the season have been good. I don't know if he's going to get you saves. If you need innings and strikeouts, Shelby Miller is your guy for relievers. And then the last reliever I'm going to talk about is new Padres closer, Robert Suarez. He has 4 saves on the year already. He is 62.5% rostered. If you need help with saves, I would consider picking up Robert Suarez. He should probably be rostered in more leagues than he is. He's still out there in half a league. 62% right now is how many he's rostered in on ESPN. I bet it's more on Yahoo or CBS. But I think he needs to be rostered in at least 80% of leagues. Now, a new segment that I was going to debut yesterday, but I had to re-go over my prospects that I wanted to talk about for prospects to stash. First one is Tigers outfielder / third baseman Justin Henry Malloy, 0.2% rostered. And these, so when I say stash, I mean if you're in a dynasty league or keeper, you could and you have enough bench space, and you can stash prospects and let them sit on the end of your bench until they get called up. Justin Henry Malloy, he was a third baseman in the Tigers system, and now he's moved to the outfield this year. So there's a chance he could get called up this year by the Tigers. Number 2 is Marcelo Meyer from the Boston Red Sox, 0.8% rostered. And again, like I said about Malloy, and this prospect, and then the last one, these are dynasty ads and keeper league ads only. I would not touch these guys in redraft unless you have a really, really deep bench and you have bench spots available, or you're holding dead weight on the end of your bench. Guys that are in platoon or don't play a lot, and you're willing to take the chance and wait on one of these prospects, then I would take the shot. I thought Marcelo Meyer was going to get promoted when Trevor Story went on the injured list, but they called up David Hamilton. But I have a feeling within the next couple months that Marcelo Meyer is going to get a taste of the big leagues. And then the last one, and this guy's been talked about a lot by the Mets for getting called up with Tyler McGill on the injured list. It is Christian Scott, starting pitcher from the Mets, 0.3% rostered. Christian Scott had I would say, good spring. He was a candidate for one of the last spots in the Mets rotation, but they went with Tyler McGill. I think Christian Scott does get called up this year by the Mets at some point. I don't know when, but I think he does get called up. Waiver wire part 2. Hitters under 80% rostered. Orioles first baseman Ryan Mountcastle. I think this is the third time in 3 shows that I've talked about Mountcastle. 21.8% rostered. I think he needs to be rostered in at least 30% of leagues. Maybe more. He has started off the season absurdly hot. Can he keep it up? Maybe. Now, if you need catching help, Patrick Bailey might be your guy. 2.3% rostered. What's a reasonable number for him? Probably, can we get him up to 10% rostered by the next time I do waiver wire? Which waiver wire is going to be done Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday for fantasy baseball. Those are my 3 days that I do the waiver wire. But Patrick Bailey, he is the number 1 catcher for the Giants. And you saw evidence of that because they got rid of Joey Bart, who was supposed to be the heir apparent to Buster Posey. The next guy I have on the list is Jose Siri. And I think it's supposed to be he's just above 8% rostered. And if you need help with steals, he's going to get you that. I've heard that he wants to steal 30 bases this year. And I think he could do that. But he does get hits, but he's a stolen base machine. And if you need help with stolen bases, I would add him immediately. And then the last guy, Diamondbacks, shortstops less DH. Blaze Alexander, I've talked about him twice. Almost 2% rostered, 1.6. I think he needs to be rostered in a bunch more leagues. And here's the drop-o-meter. We've only got 2 guys on the drop-o-meter right now. The first one is outfielder Cedric Mullins from the Orioles. So the way the drop-o-meter works is 1 through 10, 1 being hold on, 10 being drop. Cedric Mullins is a 3 out of 10. Unless there's somebody else on the waiver wire that is really, really hot, don't even entertain the option of dropping Cedric Mullins. And the second guy I'm going to talk about is Emerson Hancock from the Mariners. And again, in my rankings in a few minutes, you will see where I have Mr. Hancock. But he's a 1 out of 10 on the drop-o-meter. Do not panic drop Emerson Hancock. I know he had a bad start, his last start out, but do not drop him. Wait out and see what happens. And now we get to the rankings. We start with the hitter rankings. So the guys that just missed out on the top 50 were Alex Kirilloff, Kyle Manzardo, who's in AAA, Trevor Story, Jorge Polanco, who I might have to move up next week, Jonathan India. Let me circle back around. Kirilloff. So Kirilloff has started off the season really hot. And if he can stay healthy, I think he's in for a massive season. Kyle Manzardo is in AAA with the Guardians. I have a feeling he's going to get called up soon. Trevor Story was having a okay start to the year before he got hurt. But he slid. He was inside the top 50 last week. He has dropped out. Jorge Polanco, I keep my eyes glued on Jorge Polanco. I think if he keeps hitting, I'm going to have no choice but to move him up. Jonathan India, same thing. Top 50. So the top 50's kind of stayed the same a little bit, minus the addition of Matt McLain moving down even more because he's still out injured. As you see at 50 and 49, I have top prospect Junior Caminero from the Rays. And at 49, I have top prospect from the Orioles, Jackson Holiday. They will be in the top 40, top 50 until they get called up. Once they get called up, they will start moving up the rankings. At 48 is a newcomer. And he took Trevor Story's spot, Bryce Terang from the Brewers. Now, can Bryce Terang keep this up? I don't know if he can, but he's been surprisingly productive to start the year. Mason Wynn's another guy. He's still at number 47. If he keeps raking the way he is, he will slide and move up the rankings. Same with Suarez, Tovar, Anderson. Anderson might actually slide down next week if he keeps struggling. Javi Baez at 43. I need to see more from Javier Baez to move him up. Matt McLain has been out, and he's probably going to be out to the second half of the year. So you don't expect to see him in the top 40. And 41 is Jose Miranda, who just got recalled from AAA. 40 through 30. At number 40, we've got Miguel Garcia. At number 39, we've got Hassan Kim. Jake Berger at 38. Cronenworth slides down the rankings a little bit. He's now at 37. Brett Beatty gets a mass jump from 43 to 38 to 36. Brett Beatty raking since the season started. Then you've got at 35, you've got Christian Encarnacion Strand from the Reds. He's starting to figure things out. Jeff McNeil at 34, Brandon Rogers at 33, 32, Paul Goldschmidt And I know, people are probably going to criticize me for my rankings. But if you've enjoyed the video, please leave a thumbs up on it and leave your comments down below for any questions you have for me in terms of fantasy baseball. Back to the rankings. At number 31, Isaac Paredes from the Rays. He's heating up, but the only issue I have is he's a pull hitter. When he hits home runs, he only hits them to left field. He can't go oppo and hit him to right field. At number 30 is Colt Keith. He is struggling to start off his MLB career. At number 29 is another riser, Zach Geloff, Oakland Athletics. I told y'all on the show last week, do not, and I got a question about it. Somebody asked me in a categories league if you drop Zach Geloff for either Jose Caballero or Ryan Mountcastle. And I said, do not. I would give him one more week, and look what he did on Sunday. He went off on Sunday, and he gets a rankings boost. He's at number 29. At number 28 is Brandon Lau of the Rays. It seems like Brandon Lau's turning a corner and starting to heat up a little bit. Brandon Drury is at number 27 from the Angels. Now, with Drury, I haven't had any reason to move him up or move him down. He's been steady so far. At number 26 is Manny Machado. I'm hesitant to move Machado up because he's recovering from surgery he had in the offseason. That's why he has not been at third base. He's been DHing. At number 25 is Xander Bogaerts. Bogaerts continues to rake. Number 24, Nico Hoerner from the Cubs. Steady hitter. Number 23, and this might be a shock to some people, Luis Ortiz of the Marlins. He's been struggling to start the season, but I feel like he can turn it around. 22, Nolan Gorman from the Cardinals. He's another guy that's been kind of up and down. I can move him up. I can move him down. Josh Young from the Rangers. He was inside the top 15, but he's out injured for 8 to 10 weeks. So until he comes back from injury, he's probably going to be stuck in a purgatory in the glob between 20 and 30, 21 and 30. At number 20, Thairo Estrada, another guy that started off the season hot. Number 19, I just spoke about him a minute ago. It is Jose Caballero from the Tampa Bay Rays. Caballero is another guy that has started off the season hot. At number 18, Ozzie Albies of the Braves. He's going for a 40-40 season, and I think he's going to get it. Number 17, Jose Ramirez, Guardians. All he does is get hits. Brian Hayes is at number 16. Consistent hitter. If he keeps hitting, I'm going to have to move him and Jose Ramirez up. Arenado's at 15. He's another guy that's been, I'm not going to say slumping, but he has been struggling a little bit to start the season. Corey Seager's at 14. 13, Gunnar Henderson. 12, Alex Bregman. Bryson Stats at 11, Jose Altuve at 10. At 9 is Alec Bohm. Ketel Marte is at number 8. Huge rise. He was outside my top 70 going into this week, and now he moves all the way up to 8. At number 7, Jeremy Pena of the Astros. Number 6, O'Neal Cruz of the Pirates. He is hitting really well to start the season. Number 5, Matt Olson. Self-explanatory here. The top 5 is still the same. No changes. Now we get to my pitcher rankings. So we're going to start with the guys that just missed out on the top 65. At number 70 is Ben Brown. He makes his debut in my rankings at number 70. And he, as a matter of fact, he has been named the starter for tonight for the Cubs tonight. At number 69, Clark Schmidt. At number 68, Shane Bieber. And the only reason Shane Bieber's down here is because he's going to be out for the season. He has to have Tommy John surgery. If he was still pitching, I'm going to tell you right now, if Bieber was still healthy and pitching, he would have been in my top 15. At number 67, Kyle Freeland. I have a feeling Freeland and Gibson are probably going to drop out of the top 60. This portion of the rankings within the next couple weeks. Now we get to 65 through 60. And yes, there was a lot of movement here. At number 65, we got Josiah Gray. He has been struggling mightily as of late. At number 64, Martin Perez. I have been utterly surprised how good he's been so far with the Pirates. 63, Graham Ashcraft. He got whacked around last night by the Brewers. He has one more start this week. It's later on in the week. I think it's on Sunday against the White Sox. At number 62, Zach Littell. He went into Coors Field over the weekend, this past weekend, and pitched really well for the Rays. At that's 62. At 61 is Guardian starting pitcher Christian McKenzie. He struggled last night, but I think he's going to turn it around. At number 60 is a guy that was at 60. I think he was outside the top 65 last week. And in the comment section, you can correct me if I'm wrong. If you go back and look at last week's video and the rankings, it is Kyle Harrison of the Giants. I like the development I've seen from Kyle Harrison. 59 through 50. At number 59, I talked about him earlier. It was Emerson Hancock of the Mariners. He got hit around in this last start. I only moved him down a few spots. Number 58, Frankie Montas of the Reds. Another guy that started off the season really hot. Brady Singer is another guy that's moved up in my rankings. He's at number 57. That whole Royals rotation is in my rankings, basically, except for maybe one guy. At number 56 is Pirates rookie pitcher Jared Jones. Yes, I know I may get some overreactions in the comments. Go ahead, tell me that I'm wrong. I'm really, really high on Jared Jones. Example, I've talked about him in a waiver wire a few times. Next at 55 is Guardian starting pitcher Gavin Williams. He is due back in a few weeks, and the Guardians are going to really need him now that Shane Bieber is out the whole entire the rest of the season. At number 54 is Andrew Abbott of the Reds. Surprisingly good. How he's been really good so far this year. At number 53 is Washington Nationals Mackenzie Gore. Okay, so with Gore, I kept him where he was compared to his teammate Josiah Gray. Mackenzie Gore, if he pitches well, he will move up. At number 52, I have Alec Marsh of the Kansas City Royals. I've been really surprised at how good Alec Marsh has been throughout the season so far. I know with all these guys, it's a small sample size, but like I said, the rankings get updated every week, and every Tuesday is when you will see the new rankings on the show. At number 51, I have Cardinal starting pitcher Lance Lynn. And this is based on the start he had where he got rocked around, gave up a couple walks, gave up a lot of hard contact. At number 50 is Seth Lugo of the Royals. And I'm going to tell you right now, the only Royal I don't have on here is Michael Wacha. Waka Flocka Waka Waka. 49 through 40. At number 49, I have Michael King of the Padres. I feel like Michael King has kind of found himself in San Diego. Bryce Miller's at 48 from the Mariners. He had a really good start last week. Now, I'm going to say this. If he continues that trend, he will move up the rankings. At number 47 is Ryan Pepio of the Rays. Nice bounce back start from Pepio over the weekend on Sunday in Colorado. Ryan Pepio, if he can keep this up, I think it was a steal of a trade for the Rays. At number 46 is another Miller. It's Bobby Bobo. Bobby Miller from the Dodgers. And Bobby Miller has been so far this year in a small sample size good. It's all I can. And another guy that fell down the rankings immensely because he's going to be out for a while is Spencer Strider of the Braves. He has some elbow problems, and the Braves don't know if he'll need surgery on his elbow. They don't know if he'll need Tommy John. If he does, that stinks. He'll be out the rest of the season. At number 44 is Dane Dunning from the Rangers. Dane Dunning has been subpar to start the season. Logan T. Allen is at number 43. He's been decent to start the year. At number 42, and I'm going to explain this short and sweet. It is Justin Steele of the Cubs. He's going to be out at least the whole rest of this month of April. But again, and I said this on the show yesterday when talking about Justin Steele in the news and notes part, do not drop Justin Steele. If you have Justin Steele and you have an IL spot, put him there, and then you could go out to the waiver wire and pick up one of the guys I talked about earlier on in the show in the waiver wire. At number 41 is Charlie Morton. The Braves are going to need Charlie Morton even more now with the injury to Spencer Strider. At number 40 is Shoto Imanaga of the Cubs. I've been severely surprised at how good he has been to start his big league career. 39 through 30. Chris Sale stayed. Most of this is the same, except for there's a couple moving parts here. Reed Detmers is now at number 30. And Nestor Cortez and Jordan Montgomery both get dropped. 29 through 20. So at number 29 is Christian Javier. He hasn't struggled to start the year, but I have not been impressed. At number 28, Aaron Civale, Tampa Bay Rays. So to make sure. You kind of saw a peek at the rest of the rankings. But at number 29 is Aaron Savali. 28 is Aaron Savali. Aaron Savali has been really good to start this season. At number 27 is Justin Verlander. He has not made a start yet this year. And when he does, he's going to move up. Blake Snell just made his Padres debut last night. He's at number 26. To me, it was an underwhelming debut for Blake Snell as a Giant. My bad. I put him as a Padre. Blake Snell is a Giant. He had an underwhelming Giants debut. Max Fried at 25. The Braves are going to need him more, too. 24, Jose Barrios. Lizardo's at 23. He's probably going to drop now that he had a bad start against the Yankees. But I might take that with a mulligan because it is the Yankees. And Judge, Soto, and Stanton look like they're healthy right now. 22, Aaron Nola. He has struggled horribly. He has struggled bad. At number 21, Joe Ryan. Number 20, Tanner Houck. At number 19, Brian Bayo. ERA is the reason I moved him down the rankings. Number 18, Grayson Rodriguez. He gets a nice big extension bump up the rankings. Luis Castillo is sliding down the rankings as we speak. He's at number 17. Number 16, Cole Reagans, Kansas City Royals. I told you I have half of the Royals rotation on here. I'm very, very high on their rotation. At number 15, Framber Valdez. He didn't move. Hunter Brown moved up, though. Hunter Brown moved up a large bit. I've been shocked. I'm not going to say good, but he's been how serviceable Hunter Brown has been through the early part of the year. Number 13, Logan Gilbert. He didn't move. Freddie Peralta stayed where he was. Logan Webb is another one that slid down the rankings. He was inside the top 10 last week. He's now at number 11. Struggle is the name of his game right now. Zach Eflin, take into account, I did this before his start last night. He's probably at the end of the week going to move back down in the rankings. Now we get into the top 10, so the top 9. And number 9 is Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Okay, I criticized him after his first start in the big leagues. I was wrong. He is a top 10 pitcher. Tyler Glasnow at number 8. He didn't move. Pablo Lopez did not slide either. Dylan Cease moves up. Dylan Cease moves up to 6. Dylan Cease was in that 15 to 20 range last week. He's at number 6 now. Number 5 is Kevin Gausman. He also moved up. Number 4 is a teammate of Dylan Cease, Padres pitcher Joe Musgrove. Musgrove has been okay this year so far. My biggest riser at number 3 is Hunter Green of the Reds. And I know I might get some criticism for that, but I'm really high on Hunter Green. At number 2 is Zach Wheeler. And number 1, Wheeler and Corbin Burns both moved up a spot due to the injury to Spencer Strider. And a little sports talk podcast note. Tonight we have a show at 10 o'clock. MAC bold predictions for the MAC conference at 10 o'clock tonight. And also on that note, September 5th through the 9th, the Sports Talk podcast will be on the road in Blacksburg, Virginia for Virginia Tech and Marshall. We will be broadcasting live the Thursday, Friday, Saturday from Blacksburg for the Sports Talk podcast. All 4 of those days, you will get exclusive footage of the Sports Talk podcast trip to Blacksburg, Virginia. And if you haven't already, if you didn't know, the podcast, we offer memberships and merch. In the merch, I've been slacking. I haven't worn it. I have merch in my room. I will be wearing it on stream tonight. And I will also be wearing it Friday for the watch party for the Reds and White Sox watch party. And the merch link is in the description, is in the About Me part of my YouTube. Or if you click on the more in the video, in the description, and you scroll down to where it says Sports Talk Podcast, you can find it there too. To get a membership and join, all you do is click the little join button. But I will see y'all tonight at 10 o'clock for the Sports Talk Podcast. We are signing off. Goodbye.